Hey everyone, I'm Dan and I'm building this expedition truck. So in this video I'm going to be making the support leg for the slide out room. As you can see at the moment, the slide out room is in, but later on we'll lift the roof and we will extend it. And this support leg is something that I've had a lot of discussion about with a lot of different people. And a lot of people have suggested different ways of doing it without having to have a leg that you have to, get out and set up. But I think that it really needs to have a standalone leg that supports the slide out room at the end of it. A lot of people have suggested putting a support back to the chassis of the truck to support it, but that's we've got two problems here. One problem is that the slide out room comes out a long way. It comes out about 1300 mil, which is quite a long extension, and I'm worried that the mechanism won't be able to support the load. And the other problem is that when the slide out room is extended, the whole chassis rolls back and forth because it's got this extra weight hanging out one side. So by having a support leg, as a lot of people have suggested, simply back to the chassis of the truck, that won't fix that problem. It won't stop the chassis from rolling backwards and forwards. Whereas if I have a support leg at the end of the slide out room, it'll support the mechanism and the weight of the slide out room, and it will stop the body from rolling back and forth. It'll stabilize the whole body. So that's why I'm going with a standalone support leg. Although I do appreciate all the suggestions that everybody has for me. It does help me generate some ideas. So basically I got a little hydraulic jack from an op shop. I don't know, it's probably 1.5 ton or something like that. And I've just got some mild steel that slides into each other like this. That, you get the picture. I'm just going to cut that steel and weld some plate onto the bottom of it for a support pad, and then a plate on the top that will hold the jack, and then it'll be an extendable pole. I'll drill a heap of holes in it and put some pins through it so I can lift it or extend it or lower it depending on how high the ground is below the slide out room, and then the jack will be able to be jacked up and lift the weight of the room. So this will hopefully just be a nice short little video this week. Thank you all so much for watching, and let's get into it. Alrighty, I've just made this little base plate that the jack is going to sit on. I thought it would be better if I didn't permanently mount the jack to the support leg, so you can take it on and off, maybe use it somewhere else. If you have to repair it, you can repair it. It's probably a bit easier to store, but it's best not to store these jacks lying down on their side. So I've just made this little support base, and the jack slides in there, and then when we're not using it, we'll be able to slide it out. And it works quite neatly. We can get it in there. There we go. So it'll sit in there. There's still room to lock it and unlock it. Then we can jack it up. So it's weeping a little bit, this jack. I'm not sure how old it is, but it's weeping a little bit around the top of the shaft there. So I'll take that apart and put new seals in it a bit later. Now we'll start building the leg for it. I've got my two pieces here. They slide inside each other. So I'm just getting ready to drill them out. So what I'll do is put that in there and I'll tack it in, and then I'll go through and drill the holes through it for the pins on either side. So I'll probably do a hole maybe every 100 mil. I think that'll be good incremental adjustment. So of course I've realized that I don't need to drill holes all the way through the external one. I only need to drill holes through the internal one. So now I've drilled the two holes in the top, where the pins will be permanently, because I want to have two pins in there. Two is better than one. So now I'm just drilling straight through the internal one, moving it up, putting the pin in it, and then drilling again, and then I'll do that all the way up until the whole thing's drilled out. So I've drilled the external holes at 8 mil, because that's what the pins are, and then I'm drilling the internal holes drilling them through with 8mm, and then I'm drilling them out at 9mm just to make it a bit easier to get the pins in. Okay, so now that we've welded that plate on, the weld in the center of the plate has pulled the plate out and now the jack doesn't fit in anymore. So I'm just going to put this inside a piece of tube and bash it in the middle and bend it back, hopefully. There it is. It's got a swiveling foot, adjustable height, and the jack slides in there nicely. I'm pretty happy with it. Now I know you're all itching to see this operate underneath the slide out room, but I'm having a few troubles with the actuators in the roof at the moment. I'll make a video on that soon. I will lift the roof and we will test it out, but I think first I will tear this down and we'll get the seals out and see if we can get some new seals for it. That was a bit of an oversight. We're losing all the hydraulic fluid. There'll be a pressure seal in here, and if we pull this out, there we go. There's a little seal in the bottom of the rod there. So we'll give this rod a nice clean up. We will go over it with some wet and dry. I actually used to work as a hydraulic fitter, repairing hydraulics. It's been a long time, but I do have a bit of experience. I think the main seal that we're having trouble with is just this pressure seal in the end. That's where it's weeping from, so I don't know exactly how to get that out. Maybe this screws out more. That was actually really easy. This thread just unscrewed all the way out at the end of the shaft there. So now just slide that off, and we just got to get that seal out from in there and then go and see if we can find some new ones. And it's just an O-ring. I thought it might have been a pressure seal, but it's not. It's very basic. I put the new seals in the jack. They cost about $1 from a local bearing supplier. I wasn't able to find a new shaft seal, which is kind of the main seal, but there was nothing wrong with that one. The seal that I was having trouble with was the seal in the top. So that's fixed. So now we will lift the roof and put the room out and we'll test it out. Like I was saying earlier, I'm having some trouble with the actuators at the moment, and I'll just touch on that. I'll make its own video later. But basically, I've got 6 linear actuators lifting this roof. There's 2 at the back, 2 at the front, and then 2 in the center on either side. And that is so when the roof's lifted, I can you know, sleep up on top of the roof. Basically, the floor is supported, but it's really difficult to synchronize 6 actuators. It can be done, but you got to buy like the Rolls Royce of actuators, and it's about $15,000 to get to a system where you can synchronize 6 of them. So I think what I'm going to do is take the 2 out of the middle and synchronize the remaining 4. There'll be 2 at the back and 2 at the front. Synchronize those and then put some kind of gas strut mechanism in the center just to help lift it. And then I'll probably keep 2 non-synchronized actuators in the middle that you just extend once the roof is up that supports it. But I'll make that its own video later on. Now I'll just start the truck up and we'll lift the roof and put the room out and we'll see how it works. thought it'd be fun to put the back deck down as well, just so you can see the whole thing in all its glory. So this is why I feel like it really needs a support leg out here, because you can see it's quite a long extension, longer than it should be probably. And if you start pulling on this, the whole truck just rocks side to side so easily. But this leg will support that. So I'll just set the tripod up and we'll test it out. So this is the situation. We've just pulled up to camp, put the slide out room out, and now I just need to put this leg underneath it. So I'm going to slide it up roughly to where it needs to be. Put the jack on there first. Somewhere about there. It feels pretty good. It feels like it's strong enough, but the only thing I'm worried about is, of course, you know, hydraulic jacks, they can slowly let pressure out as time goes on. Now that I've built this, it has occurred to me that I probably should have used a mechanical support instead of a hydraulic support. But I'm just going to leave this set up for a couple of days and I'll see if the slide out room drops at all, and I'll just have to keep an eye on it. I can't be bothered remaking it at the moment, although I may have to in the future. But for now, this is going to work, and it is quite slim line as well, easy to stow away and store. Okay, like I said, this is just a nice short video this time, and I think that's about it. I think there's a very good chance that I will have to get rid of the hydraulic support and put a mechanical support at some point, but that's for a future job to worry about. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.